Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of route building on the Seattle Union Station route. And if you remember from last time, we put in our, from our throat, we actually put in the track work to get us to the passenger yard. And then we came down here and we put in our turnoff to the Argo Y. And let's go ahead and get this. Here's the Argo Y, so we'll clean this all up in this episode. And then over here, we're going to put in an engine facility. Let me show you. I pulled another map down. And this here is the map we saw last week, plus I've put in more of the coverage for King Street, because that's the other vital piece to this puzzle. And so here's King Street, here's what we worked on last week, and then we took it down here, and here's that turnoff. And it came down into a Y, and so here's Argo Y, and here's the engine facility that we're going to put in, and the track is basically coming back this way. And as it comes back, you'll see that we have some smaller yards here. This looks like a passenger yard for King Street, and I say that because the cars are longer. If you look over here, these are box cars over here. And these longer cars, I'm assuming, are passenger cars. So I believe that this is where they service the passenger cars. And we may put our express handling over there. Haven't really decided on the express handling because in my head, it would make sense to keep the express near the passenger station, but I don't know. I know that this yard here was where they used to service the passenger cars, but it looks like in later times they moved everything over here, at least in 1936. So this will give us how to set up King Street properly. And you'll see that the track from the engine facility, it comes down here, and then it's basically going to turn and come up to King Street and feed into the platforms here. And this is the Great Northern Main Line, basically. It's going to go through a tunnel over here as it continues on its journey up through into the Cascade Mountains. So with that said, what we're going to be working on is still over in this area. And the other thing I want to do, maybe before we get started over here, let's go ahead and get King Street properly aligned to Union Station here. And we can see if we can put the bridge in, and this little piece here, this looks like this would be at street level up here. And pictures I've seen, this is also a bridge. I think the bridges stop right around here. This is when you get back into ground. But this is all elevated here. This school still exists. This is an old school. It's a big, huge building over there. And passed that many times on my commute to work. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started here. So we're going to start with King Street. We'll get that aligned. Then we'll move over and start. We'll clean up the Argo Y, clean up the Y, and we'll get the engine facilities in over here, and maybe get the track down to this point. Now, I think we're gonna need to do some fancy footwork here. So let's go ahead and get this building. And what I want to do with this building, we're gonna lift it up. And then we're gonna come over here. Okay, so now that we have that, let's go over here. I need a bridge. Let's see, bridge. That's not the type of bridge we want. I don't think that's the type. That's track bed. That's going to be railroad related. That's not what we want. That's not what we want. That's not what we want. Plate girder. I don't think that's a road bridge though. That is track. Yeah. So that's not what we want. Okay, so let's see. Road, steel, road, bridge, steel. I hate to do this, but let's go out and see what we have available to us. Road bridge. It'd be wood. That's not what we're looking for. Okay, that's not what we're looking for. One might work. That's an arch. Oh, that's not it. That's not it. Don't want that type. plate. Let's see. So rail bridges. Okay, well, I guess we're going to have to make our best guess. So what we want to use. Kind of like that one. Okay, so let's get rid of some of these. I think that's a little too modern. That's a maybe. I'm going to leave that one. I don't like that. That, of course, needs to go. This isn't going to work. Okay, so now we need to get our bridge up to street level here. All right, so let's bring him over here. There we go now. There we go. Here, let's get this in here just so we can get the height right. This is basically the height right there. And that comes down here. Okay, so okay, so now let's go ahead. Let's put him, actually, I'm going to put him over here. We want 640. There we go. Now what we're gonna do, put, oh, no. And now we need to get the station to be properly done. There we go. And now, let's get this. Yeah, let's move this guy up. He needs to be up here. And then this guy can go down. is that. And then he's like that. And he is down to here. Now, if we look on our map, right where he's going, turning, so basically right about here. Right about here. That. That. And then this goes up here like that. Okay. And then you look at that. You look at that. Right at the edge of the platform, there's another bridge. So basically right here. Let's see. We need 0. 0. Well, isn't that interesting? Oh, let's figure out how to get rid of the water. That's not good. Yeah, that's not what we want. Remove water. That's weird. All right, so let's just do 1.0. There. I think that's what we'll do. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so there's that. Now, let's get these tracks. I'm going to assume there's 2 tracks there. It's kind of hard to tell. I know that today there are 2 tracks there. There's enough room. Okay. Okay, so let's get this like this. There we go. Okay, so let's get this here. So right before so probably just about right there. Okay, so leave him like that. And we go over here. that. And then we do this. That goes over here. And then we want to bring this building over. Okay, so now let's okay, we'll tighten that up. So that makes this come up here. Yes, let's see. That's not right. Let's see. It seems to be off. Let's get rid of that. $238. $238. $238. Okay, so there's that. And then we bring this out. There we go. And then we want him to be out like that. And him to be like that. That goes like that. Okay, so let's actually do this. And then we'll do this. This. Okay, so there's that. Now, this is joining here. Okay, so there's that. Now this goes away. Okay. There's like that. I'll just have to ignore that little barrier. There's that. And then we don't need you. I don't think. Okay, so now this goes more like this. More like this. There. Okay. I think that's where we're going to leave it today. So we did not get to our engine facility today, but we did get King Street properly aligned with Seattle Union Station, and we modified our building so that the entrance is up at street level. This is the best I can do at this point in time with the bridges that are available. We may replace these. I haven't decided yet. We'll make that determination at some point. But it does give you an idea of how the streets around this area worked around these two stations. Our next episode, we will revisit the platforms and get our platforms so that they are in line with what this picture is depicting. And that will cause us to move some of the tracks around. And we will start to build this track coming down. And then we'll extend it all the way over here and join it up with our Y. One thing I did want to do before we end this episode, let's clean up that Y, because I wanted to do that. Let's make that look a little bit more presentable. And it won't take us that long. It's just a matter of getting rid of all the excess track. There we go. And then we can get rid of the junctions that are no longer needed. And this track can go away. There's that. And then this go away. Okay. All right, so we have the Argo Y also cleaned up. So we are in a good position for our next episode. Okay, if you like this type of content, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Your subscription is free, and it does help to maintain or make sure that this type of content remains on YouTube. You can help us grow our audience by liking the episode. Please leave your comments and suggestions. And if you have any suggestions of a bridge or so that we could use in this model that would get rid of these sidewalls so that it looks more like a street, please drop something into the comments. Drop a line in the content and point me in a direction. Give me the QUIDs or the name of the model so I can find it in the DLS. If you'd like to be notified when the next episode becomes available, hit the bell and make your selection from the menu that appears. And with that, we'll see you on the next one.